In Plants vs Zombies, a variety of plants combined together is the key to creating a well-balanced defense against a wide range of threats. However, what if we took that variety away, restricting ourselves to only one column? Are some of the levels even beatable this way? The question is, can you beat all the mini-games in Plants vs Zombies with only one column? The answer is of course no, because we need to plant in multiple columns to beat Seeing Stars, hence it is impossible to beat all the mini-games in Plants vs Zombies with only one column. But wait! Don't go yet. Since Seeing Stars is not beatable using only one column, we have to modify the challenge again. Can you beat Plants vs Zombies minigames with only one column, except Seeing Stars? Stick around to find out the absurd methods we'll be using to beat some of these minigames. I'll be skipping over Beguiled, Beguiled Twist, Zombiquarium, and Whack-A-Zombie because all four of those minigames do not involve planting any plants to be beaten. As for Walnut Bowling and Walnut Bowling 2, bowling from any column makes no difference, so I'll be skipping them as well. We begin on Zambotny, which is one of the easier minigames. Earlier on, we want to plant a twin sunflower in either rows 1, 3, or 5 as early as possible for maximum sun production. To defend off the first wave, use a potato mine. After that, you should already have enough to afford a pumpkin to protect your sunflower against the next pea shooter zombie. Then, get a second pumpkin to protect another lane, and afterwards, start setting up the gloom shrooms in row 2 and 4, meanwhile using potato mines for the other zombies. The timing should be perfect to then get a third pumpkin on the 5th wave, completing half our defense. From here on out, just adapt and set up a second gloom shroom in the other row. Zambotny should basically be over after your second gloom shroom, then it's just time to upgrade to twin sunflowers and replant pumpkins when needed. There's just going to be pea shooter zombies and walnut zombies which can basically never break through this defense as long as you just keep repairing your pumpkins. Pretty straightforward, Zambotny is easily doable with only one column of planting space. Slot Machine is next, and this minigame will be a challenge of getting lucky. The strategy here is to put sunflowers in every row where there isn't a zombie and replace the sunflower with a pea shooter or snow pea to deal with any zombies if they come. Right after a pea shooter or snow pea kills the zombie in its row, immediately dig it up and replant a sunflower in its spot to maximize sun production. The early game is only basics and coneheads, so either a pea shooter or snow pea will suffice as a reliable defense against them, so it's pretty straightforward. After the first flag is where things get a bit dicey. Bucketheads start to come, and you basically cannot kill them because you don't have instant kills from the slots to act as safety. With all the accumulated sun before the first flag, pray to RNGesus you will get enough bonus sun from the slots, and this level should be just about over right before you can lose. The next level is its raining seeds, and immediately the problem is simply put, this level is just a luck-based level, and football zombies require an instant kill to be killed. The seeds that fall from the sky are actually completely luck-based, so theoretically speaking, it is possible to get 200 cherry bombs in a row if you play this level an infinite amount of times. It's within the realm of possibility, so I guess we are guaranteed to be able to beat this level eventually. But that would waste way too much time, so let's be real here. The level isn't necessarily completely impossible and requires 200 cherry bombs to be beaten. We can use a form of assisting tool, safe scumming, to help us partially manipulate RNG. I can make a backup file of the game from my file explorer and then replace that file with my checkpoint to go back in time whenever something undesirable happens. The zombies spawned are always the same, but the lanes at which zombies will spawn can be changed by simply time traveling back to before where it spawned. In conveyor belt levels, or this level in particular, save scumming also allows us to get a different plant, so we can reload a save file until we high roll for the specific plant we need to survive. I made a checkpoint at every flag of the level, and whenever something goes wrong, I just return to my checkpoint at the start of the last flag to save time. I ended up scumming each section of the level a few times, but it's nothing too serious, as the full attempt took 40 minutes. The strategy is obviously to stockpile the best plants you can get into the backmost column. The best plants in the water are 3-peaters, as there are at most bucketheads, and just 2 3-peaters power combined deals with bucketheads. Otherwise, in the ground lanes, we can be using Snow Pea, Repeater, or Melon Pole, which Melon Pole is better in the ground lanes to deal with screen door zombies. Do note Snow Pea should be placed in either row 2 or 5s, only so you can get that extra Pea from the 3-peater to help deal with screen door zombies. Football zombies are the main issue, because no combination of plants in one column can kill them, so we're just forced to save scum and get an instant kill plant that can kill it every time. But it shouldn't be that big of a deal. A lot of plants can deal with them, like Chomper, Squash, Cherry Bomb, and Jalapeno. Even Hypnoshroom deals with them. And that about confirms that its Raining Seeds is beatable using only one column. Moving on to Invisigold, this level poses some barriers for us. The only instant kill we get from the conveyor belt is Squash, and our only attackers are Pea Shooters and Kernel Pulse. The level also has Dolphin Riders and Zombonies, which are obviously impossible to kill with only one Pea Shooter or Kernel Pulse, so it's yet another prey to RNG's level. Also, there was one problem I failed to consider until I actually started playing this level. Just watch what happens when a Dolphin Rider zombie comes and you don't have pool cleaners. Unfortunately, Squash doesn't jump fast enough if you plant it in the first column against Dolphin Riders, so we're forced to use the second column instead to allow Dolphin Riders to jump. So, what's the plan? Well, we can't possibly defend off all the zombies with Squashes if we don't save Scum, but the majority of the level does not require RNG manipulation. Once we identify a buckethead zombie, we conclude that lane is no longer possible to defend using a Pea Shooter, so we dig it up for a walnut to stall the buckethead zombie. We can stall the Buckethead until a Zambotny comes to that lane, allowing our Squash to hit both the Buckethead and the Zambotny, which reduces the total amount of Squashes. After several of those walnuts and Squash combos, you will have basically run out of Squashes. Now comes the part where we sacrifice our lawnmowers to the masses. With lawnmowers getting used a few waves after the second flag, the remaining last few waves will be crammed into the remaining lanes with lawnmowers still standing. Stall them out using Ice Shroom, and when the final wave hits, those lanes are no longer relevant to us. And now comes the part we actually need to use safe scumming to beat, the final few zombies. Because there are multiple Buckethead zombies in the last wave, we will need a Squash for basically every lane without a lawnmower or pool cleaner. I got an Ice Shroom to check the position of the zombies here, and somehow there was a zombie in the 6th row, even though this lawnmower went off during the final wave. So this got pretty tricky. Eventually, the safe scumming for Squash was good enough, allowing us to beat Invisigold with only one column. Big Trouble Little Zombie is next, and it's yet another conveyor belt level, and our only attacking plant is Pea Shooter, which cannot kill football zombies on its own or snorkel zombies. Trying to beat the level normally is basically completely impossible. You need a cherry bomb for every single football zombie, and the chances of that happening are astronomically low. But obviously, we are only here to find whether it's possible or not, so we can use safe scumming until we get enough cherry bombs to kill off everything before the second flag. Why specifically the second flag? Well, it has to do with the speed at which the waves get sent in this specific minigame. Because of the timing, if you do a walnut to stall out the zombies from the second flag, our lawnmower will end up eliminating 6 waves of zombies by itself after one walnut stall. Keeping at least one pool cleaner and one lawnmower alive will force the zombies from the 7th and 8th wave after the second flag to go there instead of where we just used our mowers. By the time the last wave before the final wave gets sent in, we would have replenished our cherry bomb stock, allowing us to easily kill those 2 waves. And doing so specifically on the last 2 waves before the final wave ensures there is time between the last cherry bomb we use and the time the final wave gets sent. Since there is a long delay between the last wave before the final wave and the final wave itself, we will easily get enough cherry bombs to kill the zombies in the final wave. And we have therefore completed Big Trouble Little Zombie with only one column. Portal Combat is the next minigame. It's another conveyor belt level, and Cherry Bomb is in the conveyor belt again, so it's automatically beatable just in spite of safe scumming for Cherry Bomb every plant. But do you need to actually manipulate the RNG to beat this level? No. It's actually doable without the use of assisting tools in a very easy way. The best attacker we have are repeaters, which can kill solo bucketheads under normal circumstances, reducing the amount of cherry bombs you need to plant. Moreover, we get walnuts from the conveyor belt, meaning we can stall out a football zombie, basically indefinitely until we want to use our cherry bomb to get bonus value. It will require some quick planning to look at the portals to properly determine when the cherry bomb will be correct. For instance, every cherry bomb here isn't just being used to kill a football zombie. We make sure that we are also killing off a buckethead, several basics, or balloons at the same time. You should be safe as long as you have 2 cherry bombs in the conveyor belt stocked up at all times, as they can help you deal with any zombie the game throws at you. This is Portal Combat complete, using only one column, with no assisting tools used. Column like you see them is a bit more tricky, because we have one column to plant and one plant fills up an entire column at once, and the zombie density is also super high. I'll start the level by digging up all the plants at the start until I have just a column of melon poults and pumpkins, as that's basically the best defense we can possibly have here. I'll make a backup of my save state right before the first leg starts, and this is really important because I need to get a jalapeno in the next 5 plants, otherwise the game would be lost. When the ladder zombies are about to ladder over the pumpkins, is the perfect time to jalapeno. This will leave the last wave to come, consisting of just jack-in-the-box zombies and several stray zombies. You need these stray zombies to stay on the board until the gargantuars come, so you can kill them with your roof cleaners. If not all the roof cleaners go off, getting a squash would be sufficient to deal with the extra blow against the gargantuar. This squash combined with our next jalapeno, which will be placed right when the wave of ladder zombies come into view, will eliminate the gargantuar. I'd suggest making another separate save state at this point to save scum for the last few jalapenos to beat this level. The next jalapeno use is for the last wave of jack-in-the-box zombies, and after they are dead, we are left with the final wave. In the final wave, we simply need to save scum for 2 more jalapenos to beat the gargantuars. In total, the timings required just 5 jalapenos for us to beat this level, so not too bad. Bobsled Bonanza is next, and playing this with only one column has some pretty interesting implications in regard to what we can be using. It's with all Bobsled Bonanza playthroughs, Potato Mine is an absolute staple. 25 cents to kill an entire Zambotny is a great deal to get through the early game. When the first zombie is a Zambotny, we can defend it using just one Potato Mine, allowing us to get a twin sunflower in the water early. One Zambotny at the start is all you need. Once a bobsled king comes, a cattail needs to be placed to defend against them, as well as a pumpkin protecting that row sunflower. Otherwise, we want to use Potato Mine for every Zambotny in the early stages of the game. And a quick tip is that in the early game, zombies cannot spawn in the same row 2 waves in a row. With that mechanic, that means our row with pumpkin is guaranteed to not have a Zambotny in it in the wave after we planted the pumpkin. If a Zambotny then comes into a row with a pumpkin, we replace the sunflower with a repeater. A repeater and a cattail is sufficient to deal with Zambotnys. The rest is pretty self-explanatory, as we repeat the process with more pumpkins and more repeaters, and eventually work our way up to upgrading to Gatling Peas in the future. Just Gatling Peas in every ground row is good enough to beat this entire level. Gatling Peas kill Zambotnys and bobsled teams on their own, so the cattail is just for defending the pool. After you get Gatling Pea in every ground lane and pumpkins on everything, it is actually a completely unbreakable defense, so you can just AFK for the remaining second half of the level. That concludes Bobsled Bonanza fairly easily. Zombie Nimble Zombie Quick is next. Pole vaulters and dolphin rider zombies make this level fairly reminiscent of just level 3-9, the difference being this has 4 flags instead of 3. The way to beat this level is actually just the same as in 3-9. Just repeaters for the ground lanes is actually enough to defend off everything, even for 4 flags. Yes. Then, in the water lanes, we utilize the water as a way to deflect any unwanted amount of coneheads into there, because we are just using Tangle Kelps to kill everything. Tangle Kelp and imitating it is basically a necessity to counter Dolphin Riders, so best to just instant kill spam in the water instead of wasting sun on an attacking plan just for it to be dug up later. To be careful, it might also be necessary to make several checkpoints before each flag of the level to ensure that 2 pole vaulters don't come in the same row, in the same wave. There's also a necessity to using several jalapenos or cherry bombs when appropriate, just when the jalapeno makes more sense because of the Tangle Kelp doesn't recharge fast enough. Sacrificing the lawnmowers during the last few waves of the level will be expected as pole vaulters get a bit too plentiful, but it shouldn't be a major issue before the level ends. Zambotny 2 is much less straightforward to beat, as Gloom Shroom is no longer a single solution to our problems thanks to the addition of jalapeno and squash zombies in the mix. With jalapeno zombies and squash zombies, we're basically forced to gravitate towards using repeaters as our attacking option to kill them off before they can incinerate a row or squash us. Now, the use of repeater actually makes the early game much more clunky since we can no longer use Gloom Shrooms to defend free rows, rather our sun production has to be dug up. That of course is a downside since we won't be making as much sun early on, which also means we won't be making enough sun to afford a full column of repeaters and pumpkins. So, what's the solution here? Well, the solution is the simple fact that we do not need a full column of repeaters because we have access to safe scumming to help us manipulate lanes. With half of the rows filled with repeaters, half of the zombies go into empty rows, allowing us to defend those free rows with Potato Mine, Imitator Potato Mine, and Tangle Kelp, each instant for 1 row. And yes, if you plant them off cooldown, you can defend a row every wave with 1 instant slot as long as the waves last the maximum duration. And the fact that we're stalling the waves is also actually particularly useful, since not killing half the zombies will stall out the waves, generating extra sun. Not only that, these empty rows allows us to save scum taunted zombies onto the empty rows, since our repeaters don't do enough damage against them, but our instant kills certainly will. With just a naturally generating sun, it certainly is enough to defend with just potato mines, imitator potato mines, and tangle kelps for half the zombies, allowing us to beat Zambotny too. Last Stand is the next minigame, and you may be surprised that yes, it is possible to beat Last Stand with only one column. The zombie density is incredibly high in Last Stand, so we can't use just one column of Gatling peas, and Cop Cannons are against the rules, so that leaves us with just Gloom Shrooms. Gloom Shroom is the only solution to this level thanks to its infinite pierce and high damage, allowing us to clear out hordes of zombies regardless of their density. Ice Shroom Imitator Ice Shroom will be used, inspired by various survival endless strategies that use Ice Shroom to freeze zombies in place to damage them using Gloom Shrooms. Not only that, Ice Shroom is necessary in the setup to slow down, hence preventing Jack-in-the-Box zombies from reaching our Gloom Shrooms, jack-proofing our defense. Just this 5 Gloom Shroom is actually enough to deal with all the threats in this level, from pole vaulters, football zombies, to dolphin riders. The Ice Shrooms are super important here to ensure that the pumpkins stay healthy, as well as basically doubling our damage output essentially. With Ice Shroom Imitator Ice Shroom, it basically guarantees a perma slow on all the zombies, so just make sure to keep cycling through them when needed for high health zombies. For the final wave, if you're too lazy to start replanting pumpkins, you can just use 2 Doom Shrooms to kill the zombies. And that's Last Stand out of the way. Pogo Party is up next, and the solution is pretty straightforward because there's not really any other way you can beat the Pogo zombies. For all those who have played Pogo Party before, you probably know that Madness Shroom is absolutely critical in this level to remove the Pogo Stick from Pogo zombies in this level. And same applies here. We can simply plant a Madness Shroom in the middle row, which will be able to remove all the Pogo Sticks on its own as long as there's only one Pogo zombie. With Madness Shrooms, we basically transform Pogo zombies into completely unthreatening zombies, allowing Gloom Shrooms to kill them off with ease. After you're done setting up the Gloom Shrooms and pumpkins, all you need to do is to get 2 more Madness Shrooms on the 1st and 5th row, and you can comfortably AFK until the 2nd flag. This defense is impossible to break through for waves with only 2 Pogo zombies. However, different can be said for waves of 3 Pogo zombies. Let's take this as an example. The Madness Shroom in row 1 could attract the Pogo Stick in row 3, while the Madness Shroom in row 3 could attract the Pogo Stick in row 5, leaving no Madness Shrooms for the 1st row's Pogo. In this theoretical situation, you need to dig up the Madness Shroom in row 1 quickly and immediately replant another one and coffee bean it to attract the last Pogo Stick. Repeat the process aforementioned whenever a Pogo Stick doesn't get removed by a Madness Shroom, and it should be possible to beat Pogo Party with only one column. The last minigame is Dr. Zomboss Revenge, which I think you should know what the deal is if you've watched the video where I find out if it's possible to beat PvZ1 with only one column. There is a very simple spawning mechanic we can exploit to easily beat Dr. Zomboss. When a roof cleaner goes off from a zombie, not crushed by an ice ball or fireball, Zomboss will stop spawning in that lane for the rest of the level until all 5 roof cleaners are used. Therefore, this level can actually be beaten using only one singular tile, using just Jalapeno and Ice Shroom, and now begins the process of simply repeatedly planting instant kills. So, the answer is yes. All of the minigames in Plants vs Zombies is beatable using only one column, except Seeing Stars. If this video is received well enough, I'll do this with the Limbo page as well and see if they are possible as well with only one column. Remember to subscribe, and thank you to our channel members for your constant support. For now, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.